This guy fills the room every time he speaks. It's the 16th consecutive year he's been here. I'll let him talk about his resume, which he probably doesn't want to do, but I really want to give him time to talk about his new book here. So without further ado, Steve Trimper from Stetson University.
Perfect. Yep. All right, we're on. So, well, thanks for having me. He's right, 16 years, and boy, I do struggle sometimes bringing new stuff, and I want to make sure I'm not repeating myself at times and going from there. But I'm really excited to be here. There's some great people in the crowd. You kind of rekindle the people you see all the time. I got some former ball players out. From Manhattan College, my first head coaching job. I saw some guys that are up, and Mike Francoso and Tommy Lawrence, guys that pitched for me and played for me at Maine, which are two great competitors, and all the coaches that we see. And this is what this is for. I do apologize for two things. First off, fighting off this cold. I moved to Florida from Maine, and I go soft. And I come up here, and all of a sudden, it's my voice is going cracking. So I apologize if I'm going to have a little squeaky voice today. And secondly, I'm going to be presenting this. I'm doing 3 speeches today. The first one is about obviously this book that just got published. And last year, I did talk a little bit about this. It was a Saturday. We had about 15 people in the room, so maybe there's someone in the room that's heard it. I did change up a little bit since this has gone on, but I do want to stay on time and not go over. And the difficult thing about this talk is it's probably about 3 hours to kind of keep on going. And I want to try to jam it in, but I don't want to go too fast to cover a lot of things. So how the heck does a college baseball coach write a book, first off, get published, and also write a book that doesn't have a lot to do about baseball? Well, fortunately, what happened for me is I was around a lot of great people. And I'm going to tell you a quick 3 minutes about how this came about. So I get the job at Manhattan, 1999, youngest Division I coach in the country. We didn't even have a home field. We're kind of just putting up fences and sodding infields to try to get it done. So really from the bottom up. And back then, all it was about was trying to get guys to hit home runs, guys throw 90, be the best fielders. And that's what I thought what coaching was all about. Get the main job, storied program, recruit a little bit better, get some good players, and I'm kind of still in that mode. Then I hit my, late 30s, early 40s, and I'm trying to be better. And I understand that. I start thinking about it. I'm like, gosh, it's not all about the hitting, it's the culture. So this is about 2009, 2010. I got those two guys starting to play for me, and I want to try to make them tougher. And we always talk about that. Let's make these guys tougher. Let's go out and out-compete, outwork. So you're trying to come up with these things. So what do? I start reading all these books. Read every sports book you could, trying to give it to our guys. The word leadership really wasn't a big hot topic back then. So at the same time, 2008 hits, and we all know what happened in 2008, 2009. Markets crash. State universities get cut. These guys don't know it. We went from a $220,000 budget down to a $75,000 budget, and I'm like, we're not going to play 45 games. We're going to get after it. So I got to go out and fundraise. No intention of doing it. What happens is I get to meet such great people. We not only raise our budget, but then a hitting building comes. Some guy goes, I don't want to give you $1, I want to give you this. And I'm like, this is great. Get a turf field, get this. So we started building that program. At the same time, I'm like, I'm missing all these sports books. I'm talking to billionaires that went bankrupt. Heck, some of them went to jail for fraud, came out, made themselves back, built companies. So I'm taking notes, trying to get something new to our players. So that's what my focus was. At the same time, some of these guys said, hey, Coach, can you come in and speak to our annual meetings for a bank or a car dealership? And my first responses were always like, what, I'm bunting? This is what I do. And like, no, the leadership stuff we talk. So I started doing this, and by word of mouth. I've done it hundreds of times. Companies in a garage to a bunch of roofing guys, all the way to all the employees of New Balance, and so it's morphed over years, and I've done some stuff, and I also wrote a lot of notes down. I don't have a great outlet, and I talk about decompressing later on. I try to play golf, I stink at it, and it takes up 6 hours of my time, and I want to see my daughters in that time. I hunt a little bit, sit in the woods, and kind of just don't even care, so that was my decompression, but Mike and Tommy could contest that ride home from Binghamton at 13 hours, sometimes was my decompression, when we didn't play well. And I just take notes and put it down. Now, last year at Maine in 2016, I get in contact and reach out to a guy named John Gordon. I was reading his books. good author, energy bus, power positive team, all this nice stuff. So I reach out to him and he connects right back with me. We meet up for lunch. I was in Florida recruiting. He's like, dude, just write your stuff. You got good stuff. Heck, you've spoke to all these people. He goes, I wrote all these books and then tried to speak to them. And I'm like, I can't even write an email, let alone a book. So I started doing some stuff. I get the Stetson job, everything goes on hold. So I still have my notebook and I'm going through. We all have these things. And we all probably said to ourselves, I'm going to write a book one day. All right? I've said that over and over again. Fast forward to last year, I started diving back in again, and lo and behold, our newly hired basketball coach is really good friends with John Gordon. He lives in Ponte Vedra, about an hour and a half away. We're walking across campus, and I run into the two of them. I'm like, holy cow, how you doing on that idea? I said, well, this is what I got. Next thing I know, he sends it to his publisher, and bam, I've got an editor and an illustrator and all this, because they made me sound pretty good in that book. It is my words, but they helped me out. So basically the book and what I've done, it's all about what I've learned of our best teams with the culture and what you can do. It's not just for baseball. I'll tell you straight up. This is something that can help you as a father, as a mother, as a student, as an employee, as an employer. That's how I kind of wrote it. It's basically not wrote it. It's 19 chapters, and each chapter's a value that I picked up. And I talk about how I was taught that value and how you can apply it to your life, and then how I applied it back in the sports world and did it to our team. So that's really what I come up with. I know it just got released this week. It's been doing well in Nashville, so hopefully it helps you guys out. But I'm going to try to go through this. This is going to take me about 40 minutes to kind of go through some of the points. I'm not going to touch everything, obviously. 25 years coaching. I've gotten the captains right 5 times. 2 of them are in the room. How do I pick my captains all those years? The coach is going to pick it because I know the guy that gets his uniform dirty and stays late, comes early. And that same kid goes and pops off in the dorm room and drinks a keg of beer in front of the rest of the team, and he's not doing the image that I'm talking about. And the team's like, good job, coach. Now the kids pick it. And they come back with the kid that they like the most because he's friendly. And I'm like, this kid doesn't have that other ingredient. So we missed on that. So I started to try to do this for our team about building a culture. The best teams I've had, the 2013 Maine team, the 11 Maine team, the 6 Maine team, the 18 Stetson team, they had strong culture. They weren't the most talented people. They were just strong culture. And now I went back and dissect what they had and a lot of the stuff of these values. So basically, I don't want you guys to confuse a team or a business or organization's culture. That's the ultimate goal. How we get there is we come up with a set of values, traits, and characteristics. You focus on those. And that's going to start to build leadership, level 2. Once you have strong leaders, then you can sustain a strong culture over time. Bear in mind, changes every year, the moving parts. Employees and players leave. Assistant coaches move on. You got to constantly always be going back to that. But what I've learned is that people try to do too much. And I give the example up here, of a couple of things. You can read. This is pretty simple to kind of do what I talk about. Let's get our beliefs. Having set of values and traits and characteristics, it makes us be held accountable. If we're going to say these things, we have to do them. Okay? The original name of this book was Walk the Walk. Are you a doer or a sayer? And then the publishers changed it. Okay? I talked about me talking about writing a book. Well, heck, I got to go do it. All right? Grind it out. So I talk about the words on a baseball wall, a values wall. I got the Stetson job in 2017. I didn't even know the kids' names. I went down there in January. I didn't know the guys' names on the team. I didn't know who was number 35 and who wasn't number 1. It was good for the kids because a kid that might have not thought he was there, he could have a chance. Went through that season. We got better as the year went on. We finished second in the conference when they were picked 7th. Started to get some good culture. And I just sat everybody down. And I said, I don't want to hear any of this, my guy, your guy, old coach, new coach. I said, you come back. You're part of this program. We're going to build a program, not a team. A program is long-standing. Okay? I thought Maine had a program. Coach Winkin did all those things. Coach Butterfield did great things in the 60s and 70s. We all know Maine in the 80s. And then these guys came in and took it over and have done well with that program. So it's a program, okay? You got to try to build a program. So I had those guys back, and when they came back, we did a renovation of our clubhouse. We put in this huge players' lounge, and I knew on the one wall, I wanted to have everybody put a word up there that meant something about this program. So I texted them, said, send me a word. And I got toughness, grit, Omaha, you name it. Everybody put them up there. I put them all on the wall, okay? And I brought them back that year in 2018. I said, look at that. There's 32 words on there. There's no way you can be good at all those things. So you guys, a team, go narrow it down. They came back an hour later after a meeting and gave me 10 of them. I'm like, no good. Too much. We can't do it. We can't be great at the few. We're going to be good at the many. Let's be great at the few. Came back, and we narrowed it down to 4 words. Okay, we did. We came up with integrity, excellence, grit, toughness. Those are things that we said. Now we've had those 4 there. That's what we're going to be. So if someone comes out of that grit, we got to put them back online. So we want to be great at those values walls. Create the values to help build leaders, okay? We just talked about that. It goes to leadership and eventually get to strong culture, okay? That's what culture is. It's a set of values, traits, and characteristics one engages to help strengthen his or her organization. If I'm going fast too, I can always give you guys this stuff too. It's our job is to build this culture as we go through as a leader. It's not easy. It takes a tremendous amount of time, and it's always going to change on us. All right, so understand that before you go into it. A big part of a strong culture and being a good leader is understanding you're going to screw it up. You're going to fail. All the times I failed with the players and was a bad coach made me a better person. Okay, and we'll get to failure in a little while. All right, so a couple of things that I write about that have been very important to me in how I've seen this work, where it's gone. And believe me, if I neglect this stuff and don't do this with my team, same thing happens. I'll give you an example. This year, I thought we need to strengthen our culture. 2018 was unbelievable. We had one of the toughest human beings as a captain. It was our goal as a coach and a business owner and a CEO and a principal. You know what our goal is to turn the team, the business, over to the players and the employees at some point. Get it to them quickly. Get it to them. And so in 2018, we had that. Then we come back with expectations. Everybody's new, drafted, 9 guys leave. How do you build it? And I don't think we did a good job. So this year, I had our whole team, freshmen through seniors, apply to be a captain. That's how we did it. Because I was tired of getting it right only 4 times. I was not training them well. I was picking captains 3 weeks before the season. And then the guy goes out and goes 0 for 10 the first 2 weekends. He's in a hole, and I'm expecting him to lead everybody out when I got to help him. So what did I do to train them? So we had everybody apply. I had 20 guys, including 3 freshmen, apply. And then every Tuesday for 14 weeks for 2 hours on top of their schedule, we invested 50 hours. I brought in a guest speaker. I brought in a donor from Manhattan College who's an entrepreneur. I brought in a Mainer that was a great business person. I brought in an NBA coach. I brought in a general. And they talked about what they thought was leadership, so we trained them. And then at the end of it, about 3 weeks ago, before we went away on break, I asked them to reapply. I had 6 guys. 6 guys. And they went through a committee of academics and professors and assistant coaches, just like a job interview, in a tie. And they applied for the job. And at the end of that, we couldn't decide on the whole 6. So someone in the country is going to be like, why the heck did Trimper name 6 guys captain? Because all 6 shined, and they have no idea what we went through. One of those kids is a freshman. How about that? We sat in the room, and all 6 of them were like, all right, how are we going to explain we got a freshman as a captain? And then one of them goes, the pitcher goes, doesn't matter. They don't know what we went through. Okay, this is what we can control. I'm like, you got it. So we're trying to develop leadership. That's something new. I don't know if it'll work next year. I hope it works right now. Talk to me in 4 months and see where we're at. Okay, especially when the heat's on. But attitude is something that's so important. You got to have a good attitude, a positive attitude. We hear that all the time. Those guys that played for me, if I show up with a crappy attitude, that 3.5 hours is ruined. It's ruined because they're going to be like, what's up his ass? Why is he mad at me? Why is he this? Yeah, I just got a bad meeting with the AD. Our budget got cut. I got this going on. My daughter got a C in her class, whatever it is, I got to learn how to get in there and be like, all right, here we go, fellas. And I have to recognize those guys that have that. What guy on my team failed a test, his girlfriend broke up with him, he's down in the dumps, I got to take the other guy and put them with them to rub off. Because attitude's contagious. I do this every time I talk about this, all right? This is the one time I need someone to help me out about how contagious it is. Would you mind, because you're closest, can I borrow you for a sec? When people meet each other, they shake hands. That's where it is. Some people fist pump and all that stuff. But if we're meeting for the first time, usually it's like this. What's up, Bob? How you doing? Good. That's how you do that. But I run into Bob. We've seen each other many times, so we're not kind of faking it. But if I see him and I do this one, what's up, my man? You doing all right? Why'd you touch my back? Why you hold my? Because I did it. You see, I went up there and I went like this. I put my hand up. He does it. If I fist pump, he does it back. Just a simple handshake. Thanks, Bob. That's all I needed. What it is a simple handshake, and how my attitude is, it's contagious. You shake somebody's hand with a little bit of vigor and give them a fist pump, they're like, yeah, man, what's up? Okay? I get it all the time in the dugout. My guys come up to me and they do this one. Hey, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know the whole thing, but I'm just going through it, and I look like an idiot. And I'm like, but why am I doing this? Because my pitcher comes off the mound, he's all bouncing around in a regional. He's like, let's go, coach. You know? So your attitude is so contagious. You can just show the example of how you shake somebody's hand. It goes through. Energy. We use this word all the time. What is real energy? Well, real energy goes with real toughness. You stick to your values, your traits, your characteristics, you're going to have energy. You're going to have toughness. What's fake toughness? Fake toughness is Miami football and Florida State football meeting at the 50-yard line on warm-ups when they're in their shorts, and they all go like this. Yeah, hold me back, right? The hold me back syndrome. We're going to kick you up. And I've said it before, let them go. Let them go. Because they're going to be standing at each other. They go, no, I told you, hold me back. They would do that. Because what's on the line? Suspensions, can't play the game, can't get into a bowl, can't make $30 million. So just think about what's on the line right there. It's fake energy. It's fake toughness. Okay? But when that main team or that Stetson team have been around, they walk off the bus, they go play Clemson, they don't come off the bus, go and hold me back. The good ones walk off the bus and be like, here we go. They're locked in. They got to walk on their step, look in their eye. We put our pants on just like you fellas. Here we go. Let's tee it up. We might not win. We're going to compete. Okay? So that's real to me as we go through. I talk up this about your positive energy. It's got to be there. You got to have that attitude. This is something that's very important to me. Optimistic versus embellishment. It's new. So if you heard me speak, I didn't talk about that. I came up with that when I was writing the book. I have been called, and I'm fine with it, a bullshitter sometimes. I have. It's called embellishment. Because let me tell you something. In 2013, they're in the room, so I'm picking on them. We had the best pitcher in the country, and we had the best shortstop in the country, and I had the best assistant coach in the country. I had the best AD in the country. I had the best donors in the country. And that's what I believed, okay? And I would get that energy to those guys. Am I embellishing or am I optimistic? Somebody asked me how good we're going to be. I've gotten that on the hallway. I've gotten asked that the whole time. Do I answer, we're going to stink this year. Don't watch us. Or do I say, we're going to Omaha. This is the year. This is the one that's going to happen for us. Got it all teed up. Worked hard on the captains. Worked hard in practice. We got to go. Got depth. Just get through those injuries and we're going to be good. Optimistic versus embellishment. Okay? So don't let someone wreck your ride because they think you embellish. If you don't think you guys are great, if you don't think your team, your employees are the best, then you're in the wrong business. Okay? That's attitude. That's energy to me. This leads to the next one. Ego versus arrogance. Ironically, and I'll tell you a quick story about the book writing. The editor they gave me is a longtime editor from Indianapolis. I never met her, Vicky, but I talked to her every day for 3 months. And it was great. She's like, great, got her first time off, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. That's how we started our relationship. And then she started sugarcoating stuff too. Hey, Steve, good job, but, and I was like, hey, Vicky, I'm a coach. None of this sugarcoating stuff. Just tell me straight up when I'm screwing up. Let's get going on this. She's like, oh, it's refreshing. But when she read this, because she's done a lot of leadership books, she goes, this is amazing. I've never read this, and I've read all this stuff. Everybody talks about humility. Be humble, right? See on Twitter all the time. I don't agree. I'm sorry if I offend somebody in the book. You need to have an ego to be great. You need to think that you're the best. You need to have the best recruits. And you got to make them feel wanted and special. However, here's the tricky part. Once you get them in the room, once they're your business, your employees, your family, your team, you have to teach them to check that ego at the door and work so hard on it. It's why I pick the cups every single day up in the dugout. It's why I rake the field. It's why our pitchers do the mound. We have 9 grounds guys, okay? We have 9 grounds guys. And I'll talk about it. We go to Florida, the kids walk in their shorts, and there's managers running around all over the place, and they're doing stuff. And you know what? One thing the kids could say is like, Coach, how come we don't have that? No, you know what the Stetson guys do? Look at these idiots. We do that because it's our field. And then someone comes into our field now, and our grounds guy loves it, and we have a guy throwing on our line, right on the foul line. You know what our guys do? They go over to the visiting team. Don't be a jerk about it. And they go, excuse me, sir, kid, can you just move off the foul line? Because that thing's really important for us to take care of. It's our field. Just want to, and most people are like, screw you. But our guys have pride in it. Okay, they have pride. Are they arrogant? No. They have an ego. We have the best field. We won Field of the Year in 2019 because of that. How about that? We got the College Baseball Field of the Year because our grass looks immaculate. Guys go out there and take care of it. So, again, the thing about ego versus arrogance, you need to have an ego, but you have to do a really good job of checking that at the door with your team to be great. Your captain can't be any better than the guy that's first year on the team. You as a leader have to put a lot of time, and this is where I failed in my early career. You have to put a lot of time into number 35. That kid that might not make the team next year. He might be redshirting. I got to get that kid part of the bus, okay? We got a kid on our team named Danny Martin. He's our bullpen catcher. He's our 4th stringer. This kid's got more energy in the world. I learned to spend more time with Danny. His girlfriend plays on a soccer team. I take him out to lunch together. He's from Columbus High School. His parents are wonderful people. I have him an internship this summer up in Hartford. I just met with the guy the other day. He's getting paid $24 to be an intern. Where were we? What the heck? Why am we coaching? Just go be a business intern. It's pretty good money, I thought. I got to spend more time on that guy because he's going to be the one that's the rock star when the dugout needs it, when the stuff hits the fan. He's going to step up and be our leader. So that's what you have. It's easy to coach Mike Francoso. He was a great player, tough kid, starting shortstop, from a freshman on. I just had to tone him down. Hey, man, stop yelling at the umpires. Hey, I got it. Hey, don't get on the other team. Just get locked back in. That's all I had to do with him. He played every inning of every game. He's the easy guy to coach. You got to get to the bottom guys, okay? All that negativity, Monday morning blues. I hate the fact that I work with people. Thank God at Stetson, not too much. It was my tenure at Maine. People had their calendar on their desk, and they'd have the days crossed off till retirement. Somebody had 3 years one time. That's the Monday morning blues. You don't want to be here. Like, that's what you're looking at every single day, okay? It's not contagious in that fruit. Next thing, good versus bad luck. I talk about one of the chapters about don't blame luck. I used to think that we're baseball players. I got the hits because I had to put my shoes on a certain way. That's what I thought. I was a stupid idiot that one time went out, had a little too many adult beverages in Eastern Connecticut, and actually went 2 for 3 and thought, geez, if you have 5 beers, you get hits. I did that. That was not the right thing to do. I'll tell you, it didn't work. It was luck. But what I get back with luck is there's no good luck versus bad luck. You create your own luck by putting yourself in situations. Don't blame it too, because when you start blaming luck, it takes away from your ability to move forward, and it decreases your motivation. It decreases your confidence as you go forward, okay? You got to believe in the big things. Your optimism is addictive. I talk about golf as addictive. I said I stink at it, but I still play the damn thing. I tell the story. Raise your hand here if you play golf. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you played golf 3 times, at least 3 times. Keep it up. All right, 75% of the room. So you guys are positive thinkers because like me, you all stink. Otherwise, you'd be on the golf tour, right? So we go up there. We show off to our guys. Boom, up, breakfast ball. That's the rule here. Okay, so second one. Then we stretch a little bit. We're now got, double bogey, bogey we start off with. Losing balls all over the place. Then you look at your bag, make sure you got enough balls. You're like, oh, geez. Then all of a sudden on hole number 13, You're on a par 5 and whap, you hit a 3-wood and the thing just is nutted. It goes up to the green and it's about 6 feet from the cup. And you rack your 3-wood like you've done it, like you're Tiger Woods. And you walk up there and you try to make your eagle putt, right, to get back to it. And then you go home at night and you're like, man, that was a great shot. You remember one shot, you shot a 1-on-1, right? But you remember the one shot. You don't remember the 4-putt on 15. So you have the ability to be a positive thinker if you in the room have played golf more than twice, because you went back, okay? So that's why I say it can be addictive. Expect big things. You gotta be a little crazy. All those people up there were almost locked up. I mean, geez, Columbus, Edison, everybody thought they were crazy. Newton got hit in the head with an apple. I tell the story all the time, I read it, and they thought it was nuts. The guy thought the world was round. They put him in a stockade for a week. Okay, so you got to think big, okay? And when you love the job you do, you can work well. You can work well with others. You can be contagious, all right? Next value is image. So important. I talked about attitude, talked about real energy. Your image. Your image is what you have. The first 30 seconds I meet you is what I got to hang my hat on. It takes me a long time to change that image. How about recruiting? See these great players. They're awesome. Hitting 500 foot, 93. And you call them. Although it's funny, nowadays there's not much voicemail anymore, right? It's all texting. But I still call kids because I talk about communication coming up. You got to communicate. I call and I get the message, hey, you've reached Mike friend so-so. Can't take a call right now. Leave a message. So what's that message going to be from me? Hey, Mike. Coach Trimper, saw you play this week in Lake Point. Really love what's going on. We got a scholarship offer for you. Heck, with $62,000 to go to school here, we want to get you all the way there. Give me a call back. So I do that one. Then I call the next kid, and I get beep, yo, 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 mother, and there's a song on there like that. And I'm like, click. I'm like, there's $250,000 down the drain to an 18-year-old, okay? Because I used to probably take a shot on that kid. Now it's not worth it. There's too many good ball players. Your image is everything. I need the culture stronger than the kid that can throw 95. That's what I've learned. Get strong culture people in your business organization. What do you want your legacy to be? What's your voicemail? Who's watching you? Even when you're not, what are you going to lose? Okay? We all have to do this. Social media is crazy. We have something called influencer now. We bought it. You can put on one of the kids you're recruiting, it goes through every one of his social medias ever, and it flags all the words that could be bad. So you can see if someone wrote something stupid once when they're 14, or if they wrote something 1,000 times as early as a month ago. Okay? So, who's watching you? Communication. When I started writing the book, the editor in the first week said to me, okay, when we do book 2, it's going to be a lot easier. And I went, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, you kidding me? This is a one-time check. She goes, yeah, you wait. They all say that. And then I start writing about communication. And the chapter grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And it was a typical chapter. I'll give you this. This is the author in me now. 3,500 words in the chapter. This thing was like 10,000 words. Okay, too big. So cut back. I'm like, God, I could write a whole book on communication. Bingo. Communication is so vital because of the way things are changing. I know we call them millennials and all the different words going out there, Gen X's and all that stuff. But you know what? Everybody talks by the phone now. What do we lose? We lose emotion. You know the hardest thing about doing this book was not being able to do this. Not being able to talk off the top of my head. Not to talk quiet. Not to show you emotion that I really like energy. I like attitude. That's hard to do in a book. It's hard to do in a text. So whenever possible, force yourself, your players, your employees to communicate. It's not always easy because you got to be able to deliver and accept all kinds of news, okay? And that's part of being a tough person. Can you accept constructive criticism? Also be a great listener. I wasn't early in my career. Now I try to. Now what I try to do is I try to flip every conversation to them. Someone comes up and says, because people like to talk about themselves, it's just human nature. Hey, how are your daughters doing? Hey, they're doing great. Tell me about your kids. What are they doing? They play Little League now? How old are they? What do you got, boy, girl? Flip it to them. Because people are like, oh, yeah, they're doing good. And then you start to communicate and you start to build a a little bit of a trust, a little bit of a relationship, even in a 5, 10, 15-second conversation. It's part of communicating. Be a great listener. Because remember, your clients, your players, your recruits, they don't buy Stetson. They don't buy Maine. They don't buy Rawlings or Wilson. They buy the person that's delivering the message. That's what it is. I'm with Rawlings because of a guy 20 some odd years ago became my best friend. He's long gone. He retired. I'm still with Rawlings. I'll never change. They introduced me to so many better people, okay, because he was loyal to me. So you buy the person, not the product. One of the biggest things we got to talk about with young kids and people in our own businesses is you're gonna screw it up. You're gonna fail. You gotta own it. The biggest thing is owning it when you do and owning it when it's not your fault. Great story I write in the book about is the 2018 team. We had a kid named Brooks Wilson. We had a sophomore shortstop in Georgie Arenas. Brooks Wilson came back his senior year, 20th round pick for the Rangers, went to the Cape, didn't want to sign. He said, Coach, I think we got a chance of going to Omaha. I was like, this is my dude. That was that guy, by the way, I told you. I gave the team to him on day 3. And if I snapped, he was like, Coach is right. We're not practicing hard the way he expects it. We're going to own it. We're going to own it. That was on 3rd day of practice in the fall, okay? So Brooksy's out there, pitching his game. Tuesday, UCF, big game, big RPI game for us. He's leading the nation in saves. We took him from the Friday night guy and turned him into a DH his senior year. Never hit. He just had good bat speed. And we put him in the bullpen and made him a closer. He had 26 saves, hit .310, and became the John Alderwood Award winner his senior year and got drafted in the 7th round and is in AA now. Should be hitting, I think, but he's a pitcher. But we moved him. Did he have an ego? Hell yeah. He thought he was the best. Did he have an ego on the team? Whatever it takes, Coach. Put me in the bullpen. Whatever it takes. Brooksy had 8 bunt hits that year. 8 bunt hits. He's the 4-hitter on our team. He's the 4-hitter. How many guys would be up there and be like, you gave me the bunt sign, Coach? I'm the 4-hitter. Okay? This kid would be like, bink. 2 outs, guy on first base, bink. Get him over, then our 5-hitter, bloop single, RBI. That's how we want. We want a regional game that way. Him dropping a bunt down. Okay? He could have tried to hit the double, score it. No. That's what he did. Okay? But I'll give you this. He's pitching on the mat. He's got a guy 0-2 with 1 out against UCF. It's a 1-run ball game. It's a big one for us. Bam. Jam shot, goes to Georgie. Georgie comes in for the slow roller and does that. Brooksy turns around and goes, hey man, that's my fault. It's my fault. This guy is their 8-hitter. I had the scouting report. I should have struck him out. Should have never been hit to you. Never. Now, let's get the next one. And Georgie's shoulders were like this. Shoot. And I saw that speech happen and the talking, and then I saw Georgie go. 3 pitches later, ground ball to Georgie. Game over. Number 16 team in the country at the time. You beat him, our RPI jumps up. Okay? Brooksy turns around, doesn't take responsibility for that mistake, and goes, come on, man, make the play. I'm out here working my ass off for you. The next one, Georgie Yosh. And then we don't make that play. So take responsibility even when it's not your fault. True leaders know you're going to fail. Okay? Look at all these people up there that failed. I Googled that. I actually put a ton in the book because it was so fun. Google people that failed that are now successful. It's amazing, the list. The other crazy thing is when I read this to people, my players, they're like, Coach, who's Lucille Ball? I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm getting really old. Take that one off. So Lucille Ball was expelled because she couldn't act and dance. She wasn't funny, they told her, if you read the story. Worked out pretty well for her. Along with Oprah, who was fired from 3 or 4 jobs, I think it was, as a newscaster. So you're going to fail. Michael Jordan has that great commercial from the 90s out. All the times I've took 5,000 shots. I've been entrusted with a game-winning shot 39 times and missed. But that's why I've been successful, okay? It's the ultimate motivator with the right mindset. Failure can present great opportunity to grow. It can actually build your grit and your confidence, again, with your mindset, okay? It helps you improve as a leader. And the other thing is, too, it allows us to decompress, okay, and give us a little outlet, all right? What I mean by that, too, I want to talk about that real quick. You got to have an outlet. You have to have this outlet if you're going to operate at 100%. I want to surround myself with people that are going to operate 100%, okay? And I want them 50% of the time, as opposed to people that operate 50%, because I need 100% of their time to make up for that, okay? So that's who you're trying to get that point across. If you're going to operate 100%, if I'm going to hire assistants that are going to go on the road for 3 weeks and do individual lessons and all this stuff, they got to find an outlet. I got to force them to decompress. Find something you do. Find something you're good at to decompress. If it's not golf, don't do it, because you're going to only frustrate yourself. I used to sit in a tree in the backwoods of Maine from 4 in the morning till 9 and then go in the office. Didn't care if I saw an animal in the world. At 200 yards, I'd see a Tweety bird going. I'm like, man, my senses are really good right now. I'm focused on that. I'm not focused on my AD. I'm not focused on making the kids better right now. I'm getting ready for that. So find a way to decompress. The negative Nellies. John Gordon writes about them, and everybody talks about this. He talks about energy vampires, suck it out of you. I just talk about these negative people, the shoulda, woulda people, coulda people. Anybody around you that says that, you better curtail it right away. You hear those 3 words, oh, I could have done it better than you. You should have done it this way. I would have been in this. Those are the ones right there. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Remember that ego? It's coming out. We got to get back to being egoless inside our team, okay? Remember, some people wanted you to fail. Your competitors want you to fail. You own a bank in Boston, they want you to be worse than their bank. And unfortunately, sometimes people in your own organization want you to fail. And you got to recognize that. You can't control it, but recognize it, okay? Blaming others is that one thing that is the opposite effect of taking responsibility of owning all those things. Okay, got about 15 minutes left. This is kind of the guts of it here. And again, I apologize if I'm going too fast. I get the main job, and the two people I meet first week, 2005, is a guy named Harold Alfond and a guy named Larry Mahaney. If you know anything about Maine, everything's named after Alfond, and all the baseball stuff's Mahaney. They're the big donors. Harold Alfond started Dexter Shoes. And in 1981, he sold it to Warren Buffett for $400 million of Berkshire Hathaway stock. Not $400 million. Look up what Berkshire Hathaway stock was worth in 1981 and what it's worth today. So that's why he's done pretty darn well. Larry Mahaney owned an oil company. Larry was a Maine grad. He was from a potato farmer up in Aroostook County, and he was the Brewer basketball, football, and baseball coach, and then took over an oil company and built it. These 2 guys walk in my office, and they tell me 2 stories, 2 different days. The first one is from Harold. He said, okay, you're a Flatlander. That's what he said, with no R. What that means, you got to learn how to be Maine tough. And I'm like, hey, man, I've been in New England. No, you're not Maine tough. Every 10 years you live in Maine, you get 25% in you. That's what he told me. So he goes, this is how I built my companies. He goes, keep chopping wood. I'm like, what? He goes, you're going to burn wood up here because it's so damn cold and oil's so expensive and you're not making a lot of money. He said, and so when you try to buy that wood in June for that coming winter, it's going to be about $80 a cord, which he's right. He goes, if you try to buy that wood in April when the winter in Maine just keeps on going, it ain't $80. It's about $300. It's going to cost you a lot of money. So just when you think you got enough wood stocked in that shed, keep chopping wood. Keep chopping wood. And the way that's how I built my company, coach the Maine Black Bears that way. Keep chopping wood. Keep practicing. Just when you think you got it figured out, put the next effort into it. That was one lesson he taught me. The second lesson with Larry. Larry said you got to do it with a sharp axe. So what he did, he took a big piece of wet pine, freshly cut, sappy, gave me a dull axe. He goes, try to split that. I'm 35 years old. I'm sticking it in it. It's getting caught, can't split it. I'm sweating like crazy trying to bust it out. After about 3 tries, he takes out this hatchet that he's been sharpening. It's stainless steel, it's beautiful. And he goes, whew, as a 76-year-old. He goes, because I sharpened this for this meeting, you didn't. Okay, I gave you a dull one. I was preparing for this. Okay, so keep a sharp axe and always prepare. That's what those stories were that they told me. Okay. The 5% rule is a great one too. 5% rule is, how great can your team be if everybody just does a little bit more? Be 5% better at the end of the week, and the whole team of 35 guys is pretty darn good. So what happens is the trouble is when you get pretty good. We're at 42-13 in 2018. How do I walk in on Monday and be like, guys, be better? We had to come up with every Monday. We did this. Every Monday we thought before practice. And it was things like, today we're going to go to the store and we're going to buy those wipies for stainless steel in your refrigerator. One guy's going to buy them, and we're all going to wipe down the stainless steel in our lockers. That's what this week's all about. We had to do things like that. Find the little things. The little things, because the little things add up to big things. It's easy to get better. Let's practice harder. Let's lift more. Let's work later hours. But once you get to where you're having some success, you got to keep that 5% rule going every time. Okay? We already talked about decompression. 100%, 50% of the time are the guys I'm looking for. The more you prepare, the better off in these pressure situations. How well do you take tests? Okay, if I took an accounting test today, I wouldn't do it, but let me take an accounting class for 2 years or a year, I could pass it. We all been there. We went out on Thursday night. We had, as I told these guys when they played, if you hoot with the Owls, you got to soar with the Eagles in the morning. They soared this morning. They were out with the Owls last night. I think they soared this morning. But how many times did we do that? And we failed our test. But how many times the person next to us prepared and studied and worked hard? And then we look over them and we're on question number 5 and they're turning their test and we're like, what the? They cheat? No, they just prepared. Do I prepare my organization, my team, as their coach, as a business owner? Am I preparing my people to go into competition? Okay? Think about what kind of leadership you're trying to get to your team. There's really 3 kinds that I look at. There's dictators. That's the guy that comes into a team or a business or a CEO, and he fires 3 people, scares everybody to work harder. Everybody works longer hours because they don't want to lose their job. Production goes up for the first quarter, and the dude's on to the next job because he got a promotion, and everybody's kind of left in a wake of destruction. Short term. You got to empower the 35th guy on your team, the person that just got hired. You got to serve them. It takes so much time. One thing I taught myself, I'll go back to 2017. That team's done. We know we got guys coming back. I got to recruit. More so in my life, those kids went and played summer ball. I went and visited for the first time ever in 2017, the returning guys. I went and saw every kid that summer because I needed to build that relationship. I had to give up my other time if they were going to come back. They had to know I was part of them. I had to build their trust to get them back. And so you're constantly going to give up your own time, your own energy as you go through if you want to serve your players, okay? You got to figure out that organizational puzzle. It doesn't always fit. You got to move the pieces around. Maybe this player is better here. Maybe this coach does a better job with this. Maybe if I take this person out of sales and put them into marketing, they're going to be better. I can get something out of them, okay? Do you have the right pieces? This is another thing I talk about. There's a guy in Maine named Herb Sargent who has a big corporation, and him and I came up with this. So this is one of the things that we could come up with. He was having a hard time with his players, or his employees. They were all going different directions, he said. And I said to him, stop worrying about the negative Nelly. You're going to have to try to make that kid come back on your side and that employee on your side to get them going in the right direction, okay? And I drew this on a napkin. I literally said, look at this, north, south, east, and west. That guy going purple, that's your best salesperson. That's the guy that's like, you got it, coach. That's your starting shortstop, your number 1 pitcher. That's Sosa. That's Tommy Lawrence. Coach, hey, guys, we're going east today. Yeah, we got it. That's those guys. That's a team. That's a team. That's an organization. That's a business. You still got those starting pitchers and shortstops, but those red lines, those crayon lines, are kind of easterly going. And so we're just trying to, like heck, to keep everybody inside that going in some direction. Those green ones, those are those kids that might be your employees like, maybe I should have. Okay, get them back in there. The guy that's going blue, or the lady going blue, they're your shoulda, woulda, couldas. If you can't get them over on your side, you know what happens? If you don't do that, all those purples are going to go to green, and all the greens are going to go to blue. you're gonna be spiraling out of control. So find a way to work quickly on the guy going the other direction, the shoulda, woulda, coulda. If not, you're the leader, they can't be part of your team. They can't be part of your organization. They can't be there, okay? It's gonna take away from others. We talked about real versus fake toughness. Follow your core values. And that's what I always get there, whatever they are. Another thing I talk about a lot with our guys is I give them a brick. Remember when we used to do the bricks? I didn't tell that story right. I learned it after I did it with you guys. I used to give these guys a brick. Oh, I lost it here. Used to give those guys a brick. And what I would do with those guys is I would give them a brick, and I would say, guys, I want you to be tough like a brick. And everybody always takes the bricks, they stack them up, okay? And then what ends up happening is I can go up and I can push it over. Because I have to explain to the guys now, which I didn't do a good job with these guys, is the mortar is the most important. The mortar is the grit, all right? Sandy, it changes all the time. It dries out. You need to put water in it. It's too liquidy. You gotta put more sand in it. I'm good because I'm on the last one. So we're good. Don't worry about it. The grit is what holds those bricks together to make that wall tough. And you know what the grit is in an organization, a team? It's your values, your traits, your characteristics that you create as a coach, as a leader. Work on that grit to keep the bricks tough. And that's what grit is going to do. Are you a brick? And do you have the mortar as you go forward? The last thing that would have popped up on there, okay, the last slide. All I put on there is what is true success. When I talk about it, and this is what I want to wrap up on, people always say when I ask them, and it's no fault, we all think this way, it's human. Success revolves around money, possessions, fame, and wins. That's what people will say that, okay? Hey, what do you think success is? Well, I want to put my kid in private school. I want to have them get a good job. I want to pay for their college. I want to have a nice house. I want my company to be famous and be on the front of Fortune 500. I want to win a national championship. That's my success. They're just rewards. If you want to get to a strong culture, there's 4 things that have to happen. This is what I've learned. There's 4 things. First off, you better find what you believe are good people. They don't have to have great values. They just got to be willing to be good people and work with you. So you recruit, you hire, go do your job. We're going to mess it up. We're going to fail. We're going to hire the wrong people. We're going to learn from that. We're going to get the wrong recruits. But over time, you learn to get good people. Okay, step 1. Step 2, the hardest of them all. You better build relationships with them. You better go visit them in the summertime when they're playing. You better go hire somebody and your kid's playing a hockey game in Westboro and their kids are in rink number 8 and your kids are in rink number 1 because you overheard them. Show up at their game. And they're like, what are you doing there, boss? Hey, man, I heard you were playing here. I just want to watch your kid play a little bit. My kid's over there, but I can see him another time. I want to see your kid. Oh, wow. Okay, you start to build a relationship, something as simple as that. Because what happens when the relationship starts to form? It could take a week, it could take a month, a year, 5 years. I don't know, everybody's different. But once you have true relationships form, then you start to trust each other a little bit more. So when I ask those players, hey, this is what we got to do today. They're not going to be like, well, why are we doing that? They're going to be like, we got you. When you're like, guys, we have this big account we got to close. It's freaking Monday night, the 24th of December. Hey, boss, we got your back. Let's go till 7. Let's call for pizza. We got to get this done, okay? You start to become really trusting, and it builds loyalty. I've learned the more loyal people I have around me, the more rewards I get. Not success, the more rewards I get. When I do a good job of building the relationships and building good people or helping build good people, it leads to my success. You guys are in this room had a large part of where my success is. You did. You ask me back here every year. I talk to you about recruits. I thoroughly enjoy the conversations. My memory stinks. Sometimes I forget a first name. Sometimes I gotta jog, but I thoroughly enjoy that. It made me sit down and write a freaking book because of our relationships, because I was like, man, I want to share it. I want to share it. And so that's how that all came about as we went through. I appreciate you guys listening to me. I want to finish up. I'm doing some baseball stuff this afternoon, fellas. I'm going to do something on some routines. Okay, some routines. I got out of routines. I want our kids to be really routine. And I want to show you some of the routines we do at Stetson. And then later on, I'm going to talk on the field about relays and cuts. You guys are the first ones that were able to get the book. We got released for this event. They actually shipped some to Nashville, so I shouldn't say the first ones. The second, they got some there, very limited supply. It's online if you want to read it at Amazon.com and all those places. My wife, who's the real superstar, real head coach, mentor, psychologist, nutritionist, shrink for me, she's out there. We're doing a special price of $20 for the convention. I'd love to have you guys read. I'm going to be here the rest of the weekend if you haven't picked it up. I'd really like your feedback too. Shoot me an email. My stuff's in there. I enjoy those times. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys this afternoon. Thanks, guys.